Do you remember that newspaper piece? I always call it a newspaper, even though it's all online these days, about Keir Starmer pledging how wonderful AI is, and he's going to implement it. He's going to use it to detect potholes. Okay, and there's a thumbnail that's on my channel, this one, and it's of me pointing at a road with a very whimsical look on my face. I was actually looking around trying to find a road with a pothole in it to just emphasize the point a bit more, but it's the best I could do. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining me. Part of that video, of course, was what else is he up to? You can't just use AI to find and fix potholes. At the end of the day, the council should be doing that, and they should be, fixing them. There's a guy I know who got the nickname Pothole Pete, and he was so enraged with the council's inaction, he went out and fixed the potholes himself, sent the council an invoice. That's how crap they are. So AI, nothing. I don't know what's going to happen there, but let's have a look at some of your comments, the wider picture, and see what you thought. Okay, Peter. Imagine going into court defended by a barrister with every law ever passed, every precedent ever set. Every judge is summing a millisecond away, not having to trawl through law books. That's what AI promises. Barristers will be a thing of the past. Accountants too. Architects probably, when driverless vehicles eventually hit the road. Bad news, Andy. No more cabbies. No more truckers either. We're making ourselves obsolete. Yeah, what you've got is it's the fourth industrial revolution. You can read about it all over, and all this stakeholder capitalism stuff that everyone's coming out with. Literally, you will have a planet full of unemployed, and then what do you do with them? They've got to be looked after. So that's where things like UBI and social stuff and everything else comes in. I don't think the world realizes what it's doing to itself. I mean, AI has some uses. There's stuff that you can do in seconds, but if it gets too big, if it gets overly ginormous, it can take over everything. And then what would I do if I didn't drive a cab? I'd have to sit on here and talk more, wouldn't I? There's some people that wouldn't like that. Octimulti, how on earth is the tosspot going to be powering it up? Data centers take huge amount of power. Yeah, with someone like Ed Miliband in place, ain't going to happen, is it? Wild Combo Studio, facial recognition. You're along the right lines, the same as me. What else can these systems be used for? Gary Marsh, they have literally made films about the problems it can cause. Yeah, and there's a lot on here as well. Venetia Ford, these evil in charge, i.e. evil AI, will be too late by the time most sheep realise. People need to wake up. They really do. John Cook 3817. AI. Haven't these idiots seen Terminator? AI in the long term will not be good for us. Terminator's a wonderful example. Another one that I refer to often is Battlestar Galactica. It depends what variation you see, either the one in the 70s or the reimagining. But in the reimagining, it's a race of robots designed and created to serve and assist man, who then took sentience and decided enough's enough and kicked man's ass. So, you're playing with fire in a lot of this stuff. And I've seen some fairly scary things come out. And you have to wonder where it could go in the future. It really is something to behold. Yolanda, I took a stroll around the local computer shop earlier this week, full of AI promotional items. I walked out thinking, I just hope my laptop and mobile last longer than I do. Roll back 40 years, if it were any good, it would have read my mind. By the way, I started working in IT in 1978. Yolanda, that's the year I was born. I worked in IT from the age of 21, about 13, 14 years, something like that. And I remember talking with an old guy, one of my earliest mentors, really. Jim, his name was, and he was a surveyor in the army, worked in IT as well. And he was telling me about transistors, which were this big, and how hard drives worked out their storage and how big they actually were, or small, really, back in the day. And you look at now, the leaps and bounds. Wow. I mean, you had the old punch cards back in the day, didn't you? And all sorts. It's certainly an incredible leap. I mean, when I was in, they started talking about quantum computing as well. Darren Woods, it's a tool to spy on the public. Have you ever done that experiment, Darren, where you, I know there's a retired NYPD detective did this by the name of Phil Grimaldi. He had a conversation with his wife in front of some phones, and then went in another room, come back, and then all the adverts and everything on the phones were what they were talking about. That's a bit freaky. It just shows what they're listening to, doesn't it? And I've seen it many times in my house. Sarah, well, we know that some councils are too busy with other things we aren't allowed to talk about. Yes, well, we find our ways, don't we? Lemby 9037. If Starmer thinks you need AI to detect potholes, we're in more trouble than we thought. The incompetence in local government is illustrated by their failure to fill in a simple thing like a pothole. Perhaps if they spent more time filling in potholes and not building sleeping policemen, the roads would be a better place. My old man saw the trouble with them years ago. He's a retired police officer, and yeah, he had a thing or two to say when they started appearing. Kathleen Wagg, I would have thought the general public have already detected and reported the problem, all the busted tyres and all the compensation claims. Peter Russell, AI is frightening. It should be stopped before it becomes dangerous. Detecting potholes, rubbish. It's just further surveillance, which this government and WEF want. Yeah, there was a thing, there was a scheme. I don't know whether it was ULEZ or something else, but all these cameras were put up in an area for something. And then the scheme didn't happen, but all the cameras were left behind. It's a bit fishy, isn't it? Really is a bit fishy. You wonder what the hell they're up to. Anyway, let's have a look at some more. Have you seen any reports? This is Frank regarding ANPR cameras, as they will be put up all over Kent, Dartford Crossing and Medway towns, and motorists will get fined if you make a wrong turn by mistake or speeding, and the cameras will pick up car registrations, so to speak. I have read reports of that, Frank, and it is frightening because, there's a lot of number plate cloning and stuff like that going on as well. And, AI can distinguish, but not people pulling fast ones. It's overreach. It is gross overreach. Same offer to you as other journos, commentators. If you want someone to talk to who really understands AI and tech, I offer my service. I've got a BSc honours in computer science and multiple postgrad qualifications, many years as a coder in business. For what it's worth, abuse of tech is far more scary than pretty much any non-techie knows. I don't let this smart nonsense and AI in my home precisely because I understand it. By all means, get in touch. There's an email address on my channel, so drop me a line and we'll see if we can do something. Be interesting to have a chat with you. Movie Maker, the quicker he is out of number 10, the better. I took some flack with the last video I did because people are like, you keep saying Starmer's finished. You keep saying Starmer's finished and he's still here. I think eventually he will be, but he's just going to need pulling out, kicking and screaming. What will happen to the useless eaters? I don't know. Commercial vehicle electrics. As a content creator and cabbie, you're at the sharp end of the stick of the AI takeover. Oh, that's very true. I'm sure there are the first two jobs to be absorbed into AI. I'm an auto electrician, so hopefully I'm last on the list. I'm trying to get hold of mine at the moment. I've got an MOT due. But yeah, I appreciate the point. And I wonder what will go first, either commenting on here or driving a cab. I suspect driving a cab, but we'll see. A couple more comments. Very heavy EVs, that's Carolyn. Graham Hunt, the majority of people have no idea what is coming at all. Drawing up the dots. This is just the start of the new beginning. Man, literally, it's round the corner. Jobs, cars, policing, thanking, everything, really. Food, family will be all encompassing and certainly won't be as we know. It's now, let alone in the 60s and 70s. It's true. And many people still believe the horse hockey they're spoon-fed on the telly every day is worrying. Stephen John, a lot of jobs will be gone when AI takes over. Mini cabs will be one of them, Andy. Steve, do you remember that scene in the film Total Recall with the robotic cab driver? That's worryingly accurate, isn't it? That could happen any time now. Oh, dear. Anyway, that's some of your comments on AI and the point I was trying to get across there. And I appreciate that. Again, you're all of the same mind, really, and that's the great thing about this channel. Anyway, please hit the like button on this, spread it around your socials, and as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.